Good morning. This is Real with Robo. I would like to show you the video that Ms.Jai and Mr. Half did with their friend Mike. Okay, and I'm not being disrespectful to them because, some people are more informed than others on certain topics. Now, as we all know, I'm a nonpartisan, so I don't like either side very much, okay? I'm a more constitutionalist. And that means I go by the Constitution. Now, Mr. Mike, you had some pretty interesting, very interesting comments to say, and a lot of them, I had the same questions. And then I started getting informed instead of just sitting there going, oh, well, the news will tell me this, the news will tell me that if I need to know. I found out that the news doesn't always tell you what you want to know. They tell you what they want you to hear and what they want you to know. Okay, so I'm gonna touch a couple topics here that he had a question of, and I encourage y'all to go and see about Ms.Jai, and I hope I said her name right. I probably butchered it. Anyway, Ms.Jai and Mr. Half, okay, and watch the video where they talk to their quote-unquote liberal friend. I'm just going to be speaking on this as a political beast that I am. Okay, number one, he talked about the Constitution. I remember that vividly because, well, I love the Constitution. It's kind of my thing. And so he had questions of, well, shouldn't it be like updated or be able to be updated? And Mr. Mike, there are things that are called amendments. Amendments are the quote-unquote updates. And what those amendments do is if something changes drastically in America, they make an amendment for it, i.e. when slavery ended. Okay? I'm going to take that because it was a big to-do in America. Okay? So when slavery ended, they made the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment basically says, hey, we took you from your homeland, and there's a lot of nuance to that, and if you want me to get into that, just ask, I'll get into that too. But I would refer you to, I keep on forgetting his name, Thomas Sowell, and the truth of American slavery, okay? I think that's his name. Anyway, so the 14th Amendment basically says, we took you from your homeland, we had you live here, you gave birth to children on American soil, those children now have full rights of the American Constitution. And illegals nowadays, they like to try and use the 14th Amendment to say, oh, well, we had babies on American soil too. No, that's not what the 14th is about. The 14th is about you coming here against your will. Okay? That's when the 14th kicks in. Not anchor babies, not the rest of it. No. Okay? Because if we want to get completely legal, a minor is the what's it called, dear? The citizenship of the parent. So still no. Okay? But yeah, They made a 14th Amendment for that. But to answer your question, and maybe cure your curiosity, Mr. Michael, if it's okay, I call you Mike. The Constitution is written in verbiage that transcends time. Like, think about it. Take the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment states there should be no unreasonable searches and seizures. Do you think back in the day the founding fathers thought of cell phones? Did they have computers? Did they have anything that we have nowadays? Cars? Stuff like that? And yet under the Fourth, which is called a litigation or a judicial amendment, because it deals with your rights in the justice area, the police can only go into your phone if you give them permission, or if they have a judge-signed search warrant. That's because of the Fourth. But back then, they didn't have cell phones. They didn't have cars when the Constitution was written. They didn't have computers. They didn't have a lot of stuff that we have nowadays. And yet the Fourth says, you know what? No, you can't go into Mike's cell phone to check out anything that's in Mike's cell phone. But a simple fact is that that's an unreasonable search and seizure. You don't have the right to go into his stuff without his permission. You see what I'm saying? It's written in a language where it transcends time itself. And if particular amendments don't transcend time, then they write a new amendment. Now let's take the first. See, a lot of people think, oh, hey, you know, they ran from this, that, and the other, or they were brought over here so that they could, you know, make America and another colony and this, that, and the other thing. And sure, that's what the government of England said. But the fact of the matter is that England could not control these people. And so they said, you know what? You guys are ripe for becoming a new colony. In other words, we're so sick and tired of you. We're not only going to kick you out of our country, but we're going to have you set up a colony for us, okay? Sound good? Sound good. Let's go. When in fact, the people, the Quakers, they were running away and agreeing to leave because England wouldn't let them speak out against the king. Because England wouldn't let them practice their religion. And if you look, most English people, and the last time I checked, the Church of England was Roman Catholic. And Quakers are more akin to Christian. And that's another First Amendment right that transcends time, is that no matter what kind of government we have, okay, whether it's a democratic government like it is now, whether it's a Republican government like it was when Trump was in, no matter what kind of government that it is, we could speak out against it. We could say what we want to say. And true patriots will respect that. And this also falls into religion because that's covered. Do you think the founding fathers thought, oh, hey, we're going to have Muslims, Buddhists, a whole bunch of other people, Christians, Baptists, atheists in our country?
Hell, Satanists.
Yeah, Satanists in our country. Do you think they knew that? No, they only knew, oh, well, we have Quakers. But the way it was written, freedom to practice your religion. Yours. So while you may be Baptist, I may be Lutheran, my husband may be Mormon, someone else may be Muslim, another person may be Buddhist, and then another person may believe in Native American beliefs. Somebody may be out there that praises mushrooms. And they're all covered under the freedom of religion. They are. It transcends time. It transcends circumstance. It says you have the right to practice and believe in your own religious beliefs. Because that's another thing they were running from. Now, the founder of my belief, the founder of the Lutheran Church, Martin Luther, in England, spoke out against the king. He was a rebellious religious man and said, we're going to do whatever we want to do anyway. Okay? So that protected people like him. To say, you know what, government? You can't tell me I have to be a certain religion. So I hope that answers your question about updating, upgrading the Constitution. Because right now, as of today, we have 27 amendments. When the Constitution was written, I believe they only had maybe 10, possibly 13. I'm not sure. I have to look that up. I'm not a constitutional scholar, but I do know my rights. And it's like, as big things changed in America, new amendments were written if the other ones didn't cover them. Like right now, your Governor Nonsense, Nuisance, he wants to put in a 28th amendment to where that governs the second. No. Because what he is literally trying to do is fetter the crap out of the second by writing a new amendment. Which brings us into another one of your questions or commentaries about California and how it's not easy to get a job and you're not getting paid what you should get paid and prices are so high. The reason they're so high is because the economy in California sucks. And the reason the economy in California sucks is because people in California vote for sucky people with sucky policies. Okay? Those businesses that left California didn't leave California on their own. They didn't see Texas and they didn't see Florida. Oh, look over there. We want to go base our places there. No, they wanted to be in California, but Governor Newsom put so much red tape around them. You have to do this. You have to pay this. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to do that. And then they looked across the country and they saw Florida, and Florida said, you know what? Just take good care of the people, okay? We don't need all that red tape. We want you to flourish, make a lot of money, hire a lot of people, spread your business out so that you could hire a lot of more people. And they were like, wow, you know what? We're leaving. And that is why the pay rate sucks there and everything is so high.
To be fair, it wasn't all Newsom. Not all of it.
Not all Newsom. Governor Gray.
Davis, yeah.
Yeah, Governor Gray Davis screwed us too. Well, screwed y'all too. I keep forgetting because I'm from California. I left when the leaving was good, before it was cool. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at the policies in, let's say, I don't know, Mississippi, Texas, Tennessee, places like that, versus the policies in California, you will see a huge difference. You'll also see a huge difference in the homeless population. There's literally a Texas man that had a job, that did everything, and he gave up all that because it was more productive and more prosperous to be homeless in California. And guess who gets to pay for that? You do. You going out there every day, working hard as hell, getting barely any money, not being able to finance your family, pay for all the free programs that you voted in by voting for Newsom. I'm sorry, the words are so close.
Also the shipping regulations in California.
Oh yeah. There's a whole lot of regulations they have to go by, red tape. I mean, truckers don't even want to go there. They literally fill up in Flagstaff before they cross the line to California because you have to pay for smog tax, truck tax, diesel tax, gasoline tax, this tax, that tax, being a trucker tax, wearing a hat tax. Every kind of taxes because of all the socialist programs in California. Something has to pay for that. And that falls on your hardworking shoulders, Mr. Mike. Now, another question you had. You know, the way that guy on the video said Trump is racist, he's sexist, he's homophobic, he's transphobic, he's thisophobic and xenophobic and all of thisophobic. It's all a lie. Trump closed the borders during COVID, not because he was xenophobic against Chinese people. It's because there were reports that's where COVID was coming from. So he closed the borders because that's where the virus began, was coming from, etc., etc. I could go on for days, but YouTube doesn't like me talking about various issues because they don't like people telling the truth on their platform. Okay? Racist. And he didn't care about anybody but his family and money. Trump literally lost money as a businessman being the president. Literally. Look it up. Don't believe me, Mike. Google it. Trump is the only quote-unquote politician that has lost money while being in public service. Look at Pelosi. Look at a whole lot of other people. Their net worth has went all the way to the top. While Trump's net worth, his money, went down. He would literally donate his checks to veteran businesses and people that helped veteran businesses start. Little known fact. He donated his paycheck as president because he said, I'm rich. I don't need it. As far as the homophobic, Trump had the first openly gay cabinet member. I know you hear on the news, oh, well, yeah, Biden has the first openly gay cabinet member with Pete Buttigieg. No, Richard Grenell. And he wasn't public transportation and transportation secretary. He was acting director of the intelligence community. You see what I'm saying? Trump even gave a gay man, openly gay man, a huge position to oversee. As far as sexist, go look at everybody in Trump's cabinet, on Trump's team. He has beautiful women constantly surrounding him, except one thing. They're all very, very intelligent. I want you to do me a favor, Mr. Mike. Google Kayleigh McEnany and Karine Jean-Pierre. Watch how Kayleigh McEnany owns every single day, owns the media. And Karine Jean-Pierre, her answers are, I don't know, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I don't speak for the White House. This, that, and the other. That's not what I'm saying, LOL. Does that sound like an intelligent woman to you? Sure, you could be surrounded by women, but if they're dunces, it really doesn't count. They're just checking a box for you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. I love Ms.Jai. I love her. 100% she cannot do no wrong. Zero wrong. She's bouncy, she's sparky, she's feisty, and she's highly intelligent. See, she would be the type of woman that Trump would have on his team. Then there's other women like, say, Rachel Maddow, who can't even say, I'm sorry for lying to y'all. You know, this actually didn't happen. Or even attempting to make up a lie and saying, oh, well, I didn't know that. You know, reports said this, that, and the other thing, and I was just reporting. She can't even say sorry. And yet that would be the type of woman Biden chooses. Because, check, she's a lesbian woman. There was a box that you needed to check to be on Trump's team, and that was, check, you're intelligent. Okay? You're good at your job.
Because he's a businessman, he doesn't want idiots.
Exactly. And that's why America flourished during his time, Mr. Mike, is because he didn't just want him to make money. He wanted us to make money. Racist. Biden said on Charlemagne's show, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. Because Democrats automatically think that you, Ms.Jai, dang it, now I forget his name. Here we go. See, this is me. I'm forgetful. And Mr. Half, you owe them your votes. When in fact, the Democrat Party started the KKK. Okay? And I know a lot of Democrats love to say this. Oh, well, back in the day, it was the Republicans. But if you look at the political flip that happens every now and then in America, it's happening right now, where liberals, Democrats, they're all moving towards the right. And socialists, Marxists, commies, and progressives are taking over the left. It flip-flops. But it's still under the Democratic name. Biden literally was BFFs with the head of the KKK. The head of the KKK was applauded on The View for stating, we're not voting for Trump because he's not being racist and white supremacist enough to get our vote. Also, I want you to look at a few policies of Trump's. He literally intended to inject 50 million, or maybe it was 50 billion, into the black communities when Biden was quote-unquote voted in. I don't believe fat, meat, greasy, and there was too much question about it. But then again, in every election, if you are politically informed and a beast like I am, you know that hokey crap happens in every single election. It was only brought out because we all were watching like hawks. And we'll all continue to watch, which is a good thing, because now the government knows it's being watched by patriots. It's a good thing. It's actually a good thing. But honestly, Ice Cube, you should know him. You're from California. He's from California. Ice Cube wanted to talk to the Democrats and the Republicans about his whatever plan. Trump said, I'll talk to you. Let me just make a time for you. The Democrats said, after we win the election, then we'll talk to you. Google Platinum Plan by Trump. You'll see everything you want to know. Okay?
Yes, Democrats still haven't talked to him.
Yeah, no one's talked to him yet. The rest of the crap, I don't know what other things he mentioned, but basically what he's talking about is actually Democrats and the left wing. That's who's doing those things. Okay? Because if you look at BLM, who is now a shamed scheme. Okay? Literally, they took over $80 billion in donations, and they're declaring bankruptcy. Why is that, Mr. Mike? Oh, that's right, because they bought a Marxist mansion in Canada, supposedly to help young black men and children, supposedly, in Canada. Okay. And yet, it's still not helping anyone. They bought over $5 to $15 million in real estate in white communities. So much for upgrading the black communities, right? To live away from black people. Literally, their properties have zero connection with black communities. Zero.
We're talking places like Martha's Vineyard, Napa Valley,
LA Hills.
LA Hills, yeah.
Places like that. And then you stop and you think, why would they be now paying millions and millions of dollars to their family members and friends for security, ideas, this, that, and the other thing? Which it sounds great, right, Mike? It sounds great. It's okay, so if I was that rich, I would probably pay my friends and family stuff too. But herein comes the question. What have you seen from all those millions and billions of dollars? Have you seen programs being set up? Have you seen anything being set up for the black community to flourish? No, you don't. What you see is them buying mansions, real estate, property, and then declaring bankruptcy.
Excuse me.
Why? Because they are self-proclaimed Marxists, which I laugh about, personally. I do. I laugh. Because the founder of Marxism, Karl Marx, thought that black people were second-class citizens. Much like the way people like to say, oh, I'm a sovereign citizen. Yeah, sovereign citizens don't even view black people as human. Never mind part of their world. Talk about jumping into racists and racism. That's where you find it, sir. Now, a lot of questions came up about the border. And the reason why I say a lot of questions is because the wall was mentioned. I want you to logically think, critically think. This is what the right-wing people, when they say critically thinking or critical thinking skills, critically think, Mr. Mike, okay, for me, one good time. You have millions of miles of open land, which already has 15 to 20 tunnels going from Mexico to America. You have to guard those millions of miles with very few border agents. Wouldn't it be easier if there was a wall to stop those millions of miles of open land? And no, he wasn't going to put it across the whole entire border. He was going to put it, like he said, at the places that were needed. For example, where there wasn't harsh terrain. That way, the border agents only had to keep an eyeball on that harsh terrain. Did you know that literally before Trump started in with his wall, Pelosi and the Democrats all were for building some kind of fence or barrier there? Go ahead, look it up.
During Obama's years. Make
Yep.
it easier.
Look it up. Look at it. Don't believe me, Mr. Mike. I don't want you to believe anything I say. Look it up. Okay? That's what we mean by doing your own research. It means don't believe anything I say. Even though I don't lie, you could ask my husband. I don't care how harsh the truth is, I will tell you the truth. Doesn't matter. I'm a liar. Don't believe me. Look it up. Pelosi and the Democrats during the Obama years were literally going to build some form of fence, some form of fencing, some form of border wall. But because Trump said, I want to build a border wall, they were like, oh my God, no, that's so racist. And yet, go Google Pelosi's mansion. What's around that, Mike? A big honking wall to keep bad people out. It works for her house, but she don't want you to have it, Mr. Mike. She don't want your home, your country, America, to have the security her home has. A lot of the illegal immigrants come across the border not because they're, oh, I'm in fear for my life because my government is persecuting me. No. They come across the border to make money, not pay taxes, because they're illegal as hell, and it states that illegal as hell people don't get W-2s. Okay, that means they don't pay taxes. What do they do with their money? They send it back home and live like kings. Or they give it to the coyotes and the cartels that bring them across the border. Don't believe me, Mike. I want you to look it up. I want you to call me a liar on absolutely everything I say. Okay? I want you to call me a liar. And usually I'd get real offended if someone did. But I want you to. Now, illegals get paid less because if the companies get caught hiring illegals, then they get fined and a whole lot of other things. But why pay Mr. Mike $14 an hour, plus benefits, plus this, plus that, follow OSHA, do all this, da-da-da-da-da-da, HIPAA, everything else, when they could pay an illegal worker $6, $7 an hour, no benefits, no oops, you slipped on the job, we gotta pay for your medical bills. No, none of that. No unemployment. Why would they want to pay you, Mr. Mike? So the illegals cross over, unfettered by any kind of barrier, into this land to take your jobs, your pay, send it home, don't help out with the homeless. And sometimes, and Ms.Jai was right, and Mr. Half was right. You don't know what's crossing over that border. Did you know a case, Molly Tibbetts? She was raped and murdered by an illegal alien. Go ahead. Again, don't believe me. Look it up. The case of Molly Tibbetts. We have illegals kidnapping and keeping 15-year-olds, beautiful Haitian asylum girls, kidnapping them, hurting them in the worst way that you could hurt children, beating them up, and they're lucky to escape. The little Haitian girl is here legally, and they're not. They're crossing the border, murdering people, setting up quote-unquote gangs, cartels, everything else this side of the border. And wouldn't it be more productive to look for those 15, 20 tunnels than have to monitor millions of miles of open land? Do you know what happens to the women and the girls that want to illegally migrate here? Their parents literally give them the pill.
Contraceptives.
As in the contraceptive pill. Because they know that the people that are bringing them are not going to respect that they're little girls. So they're dying, getting hurt on the way here. Trump's border policies stopped that, slowed that down, made it not worth coming to America illegally. He saved lives. Now they're getting so bold that they're literally looking at different people that are being brought by the coyotes and saying, I want her, I want her, I want him. And it's for organs. They literally kill these people and take their organs to sell on the black market. They literally put drugs in their bodies and let them come across America. They cut it out, and we find them dead. They literally take these little girls and these women and traffic them. And this is over millions and millions of miles. Instead of 15 tunnels that they could place guards at the entrance and go, hi, how you doing? And then have, I don't know, demolitionists go in there and blow up the tunnels so they have to dig new ones. You see what I'm saying? A wall is good enough to surround these rich politicians' houses, but it's not good enough to surround your country. Furthermore, look at what happens to illegals that cross over into Mexico. Look at what happens to illegals that cross over in China, in Iran, in India, in anywhere that these people are coming from. Because there's like 150 different places that illegals come from. Thus counted on the border, not to mention our enemies. Okay, known terrorists try to cross over illegally. You see what I'm saying, Mr. Mike? And some make it because they cross over and they don't get caught. The getaways, the gotaways, they call it.
Gotaways, yes.
Look at the fentanyl. The drugs that are crossing over into our land. Enough drugs to kill Americans, all Americans, 3 times over, was picked up not too long ago. And that's not counting how many got away.
And that's just one shipment.
And then look down on the border. Google this. Don't believe me. Like I said, I'm a liar. Don't believe me. Google this. There is literally teenagers dying because they're given these little pills that look like candy, and it happens to be fentanyl. So now literally look at what happens to legal migrants that go into Mexico. They're not allowed to own land. They're not allowed to do this. They're not allowed to do that because they're not Mexican-born citizens. Yet look at what Mexican illegals get in America. They get fair and impartial trials. They get all of the judicial rights. They even get multiple opportunities to cross into America, illegal, do crimes, get kicked out of America, come right back in, do more crimes, kicked out of America, come back right in, do more crimes, and until it's something like murder, like what that idiot did to Molly Tibbetts, they don't get put in prison. They get treated better than American-born citizens like you and I, Mr. Mike. And then they